Stankoven.
Right now, I
Question
have to
is-
stop saying.
What do you think? That's right. Stank the Tank back in tonight. We'll talk about that. It's not our lead story, but it's right up there. Look who's back. We actually forgot what he looked like in person because he's been gone for what, Bloods, like a month?
2 at least.
Just doesn't go to work anymore. So here he is. Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, John Anderson. I'm Owen. This is the DLS Dallas Stars pregame show. Stars and the Blue Jackets are playing tonight. Man, let's get it started.
Get it ready, boys.
Sam's here. He just got back from Jersey, picking him up.
We back, baby. We back.
New Jersey color wagon.
We're comfortable in Spirit Airlines, eh?
It'd be awesome if it breaks right now.
Yes. Do you remember when we used to do a cold open with a previously? Then our producer, John Anderson, got a little busier, and he hasn't had the time to mess around with that. Maybe in the off season, when we're not doing late night games and running John into the ground, we'll have some time to bring that feature back. Maybe not. It's a lot of work. Alongside Craig Ludwig, Sam Nessler, the New Jersey one, John Anderson, our producer. I'm Owen Newkirk. Thanks for joining us for the pregame show. Stars and Blue Jackets are going to be playing tonight at Nationwide Arena, wrapping up their season series. We'll talk all about it. Let's begin with the biggest news of the day for me. The Swiss rookie defenseman Leon Bishel will not play tonight, and he's out at least 5 or 6 days in concussion protocol. The hit by Casey Cizikas, which merited a match penalty for the Islanders forward, was met with very divisive reactions. Most people with reasonable, logical thought processes said that's a dirty hit. And even if it's not an intentionally dirty hit, the result is nasty and the penalty merited. A lot of Islanders fans, including the team, said, I don't see anything in that. It seems like a clean hit. It's not. We'll talk about that if you'd like to, or we'll wait till tomorrow when Mike Heika joins us for our afternoon show. Guys, any changes in opinion about the hit by Cizikas on Bishel in the last 48 hours?
Let's go with Sam first.
No. I think it was warranted. The only thing I didn't fully understand was the process. So I listened to a bunch of different people talk about the process, and it's so confusing with the rules when it can be a 5, when it can be a minor in a game.
Can't be a 5.
Or yeah, exactly. And it can't be a 5 for a hit to the head. So there's all kinds of complicated rules, which I'm sure just fueled the fire for Islanders fans to believe that it should have been handled differently. But it's a penalty, 100%. And if it's not made clear by the play itself, it's made clear by the fact that the guy has a concussion. I mean, you don't get hit in the chest and get a concussion. So the good news out of it is, or I guess the only hope of good news is that maybe it's 5 to 6, 7 days most. We hope it doesn't drag on any more than that.
The only thing where I'll differ is I don't believe he purposely went in there to hit him shoulder on chin.
I agree with that. No, I don't contest that
There's
at
no
all.
question he did. I even heard some pretty intelligent hockey people saying that was a good hit. It shouldn't even have been a penalty.
I've heard that too.
So
don't know if I agree with it.
I could see if you're on the other side of the fence and you're the Islander people and you're saying, you know what, Bishel kind of put himself into that position. And listen,
Doesn't help him score 2 goals either.
Right. But they're going to
Don't
talk
get me
about a
wound
player
up.
that's 6'7" versus a player, I don't even know how tall the other guy is, but that
Not that big.
but exactly. So when you come in and you're leaning in, I said this the other night. I think he's bracing himself because he knows he's running into a cement truck. And because he is. I mean, you just watch what Bishel does. That's what happens. And so I think he's preparing for a big collision that's maybe a little bit out of his weight class and not going to be the guy that gets tipped over. And yes, he catches him with the shoulder. It's on the jaw. And again, I think the reason that Bishel, that's what happened to him is the puck gets away from him a little bit and he's reaching around to grab the puck. Mm-hmm. And that's what brings him down. And that's what ultimately helps shoulder hit.
Sure.
The chin. So
I want to go into a lot more detail about it tomorrow when Hikes is on. We'll show the hit again. We'll show the Trevor Zegras hit as he was suspended for 3 games for the check he had on Michael Rasmussen. I think that's worse, but the results are similar. And I'll talk about why I think that what Luds was talking about, some intelligent people saying they didn't see anything wrong with the hit by Cizikas, are antiquated. I'm not calling them dinosaurs, but they are. And I'll tell you why tomorrow on our show, because I feel very strongly that we have to stop victim blaming the players that get clocked in the head and get concussions because they, quote unquote, didn't protect themselves enough. We'll get into that. And I still think there's good hard checks and physical play in hockey. You don't have to get rid of it and make it soft league, as we hear from some. We'll get to that. But with Bishel out, Brendan Smith will come in. He's fine. He's not the same imposing figure as Leon Bishel, but for the way the Stars have been playing, they've been really good and able to use their depth. Bishel brings something different, but a lot of praise for Matt Dumba for stepping up immediately. And I heard from Sean, who was in Columbus this morning, went to do some reporting with the Stars in Columbus, close to where Sean's based in suburban Detroit. And a lot of praise for Matt Dumba, who we found out never saw the hit. He saw Bishel down and had to make a split-second reaction. Now, we got a 2-5 and a 10, 17 minutes for instigating, but the team and Pete DeBoer really liked that he stepped up and answered the bell, and he's done it more than once this year, and that makes him popular in the room for that.
Yeah, and I don't think that would ever be a question mark on Dumba.
No.
He's played that way, for whatever team and teammates he's had. He's been that player. And again, there's a lot of times that players don't see what happened to their teammate, but they hear it. And I think that being a partner, being a teammate, being in the situation that Dumba's been all season long here, there was no doubt that he was going to jump in here. He was going to be the first guy there. And obviously it was the right thing to do. But I will say this, if regardless of who else was out there, they may have done the same thing.
Yeah, and it's funny. Pete called it pack mentality, which is a great way to put it. This team is super close. We talked about that a ton. But the interesting part is what you just said, Owen. He didn't see it. If you see, he throws Pajot out of the way first, thinking that he was the one who did it. And then I don't know if someone tells him or he just realizes it because everyone else is kind of going towards Cizikas. But he tosses Pajot over Bishel into the corner and then turns and goes after Cizikas. So he clearly was just looking for retribution.
Eventually, he was going to get to the
He was going to get to somebody.
Yeah.
He was going to fight everybody. But I think it's also funny that he just took that bubble off.
Yeah.
Right? So he can fight with it.
We talked about it when you were
fight wasn't so
doing
great.
The interviews the other night.
It wasn't so great. He got his
It
jersey
doesn't matter.
pulled over his head. But I'm just saying that it was very good. The timing worked out well for him to be able to drop the gloves. But I want to say, I didn't get to say this on the show after the Islanders game. I tweeted out something about it. I gave Matt Dumba all kinds of credit even before that play. Tell me he hasn't looked like a different player in the last 5 or 6 games.
Yes.
He's brought the physicality a little bit.
Yep.
He looks more confident with plays in his own end and on the offensive blue line. He's hitting a little bit more, and he's got 3 assists, which doesn't sound like a ton, but he had 2 assists through the first 30 games of the season.
Yeah, and what he's doing, I said it when we talked about him early on, and what you're talking about is he's just it's a simpler, to say dumbed down game. That's not, I don't mean that, but you do dumb things down, and what you do is when you see the play, you make it right away. You don't look for another play. You don't look to skate it into another area and try to get a little bit closer to the red line, a little bit closer to the offensive blue line. I think when he's on the blue line, though, offensively, he's gotten pucks to the net a little bit quicker. So he simplified his game, and I think he's getting rewarded for it from minutes.
I'm still laughing about dumb down the game. It's perfect. I know you weren't intending to, but it's funny.
Well, I wasn't intending.
There's the rim shot we were looking for. All right, let's talk about Logan Stankoven for a minute. He was healthy scratched for the first time in his NHL career and basically in his pro career. Had not been healthy scratched in the AHL with Texas. And I don't think he was getting sat in junior either as he was piling up points. He has 2 points in his last 13 games, 1 goal, 1 assist. In his first 15 games of the season, we thought he was showing why he should be a candidate for the Calder Trophy as NHL Rookie of the Year. 4 goals, 10 assists, 14 points in 15 games. That's 0.93 points per game, almost a point a game, plus 11. He was third on the Stars in scoring at that time. Now, remember, some of the big guns for Dallas had very slow starts to the year. However, since November 15th, Logan Stankoven went from 0.93 points per game, 39 games, 11 points, 3 goals, 8 assists, 0.28 points per game, and a -3. And during that span, he is 13th on the Stars in scoring. Remember that first 15 games, he was 3rd. Here's what Pete DeBoer had to say this morning about what Logan Stankoven needs to do to be his most effective version.
Listen, it's never lack of effort. He's a competitive guy. He always works hard. You know, I think when you're a player like Logan, it really comes down to finding a way to get some production. You know, he's not going to physically run over people. He's not killing penalties. So the advantage of having him in the depth of our lineup is that should create some mismatches for us, you know, and he's got to be productive, and I think overall he has been, and it's not easy in the depth of the lineup for a young guy to be productive, but you know, that's probably the one thing I think that we're probably looking for, and probably separates him from other guys.
That word, be productive, means points, goals, assists. Has to find a way. Doesn't have to be goals, but it has to be on the score sheet.
Yeah, and you know, and he does all the right things, and you know, they all know that. But at some point, you have to put the puck in the net, and he's getting opportunities. And I said it the other night. Sometimes it's okay to sit out a game, and you get upstairs, and you know, maybe you'll see something differently. Maybe you'll see different areas of the ice you can get to, or where you know, again, things look different, things look slower, things look easier up there. But you also get to reflect on what it is, and you know, just because you do all the right things in this game, especially on this team, as Pete says, you have to be productive, and he set his bar really high. You know what I mean?
Both last year and this year.
Yeah, and so they know what he can do, and you can only be snake bit for so long before this is going to happen to you. And he's not going to change his game. Is he got to get a little bit closer to net? Does he got to be a little bit hungrier? You know, maybe you're going to see, instead of him taking the second whack after a puck, he may take a third and a fourth, and he may draw a penalty, but he may be laying on top of the goaltender. There may be two guys laying on top of him. I would expect that you're going to see even a little bit more of the Tasmanian Devil come out of him tonight.
Yeah, I think the key that Pete talked a little bit about is that the style of play makes it harder for him, because Beck kills penalties. You see younger guys that come up and they're playing a fourth line, penalty killing, shutdown role, and it's a lot easier to do that at the NHL level after playing in the American Hockey League or coming from somewhere else. For Logan, he does that, right? He does we talk about it all the time, he does the little things, but the problem is he's not killing penalties, as Pete said, and his game is putting the puck in the net and getting points. And so he can do all those things. He doesn't need to be a 40-goal scorer like someone predicted at the beginning of the season.
40.
But he does need to be a guy who puts up 20.
By the way, I'm laughing because that wasn't me.
No, I think it was Luds. He does need to.
I don't know what happened.
He does need to put up 20, right?
Somebody in this panel predicted that Logan Stankoven could be a 40-goal scorer this year, and somebody is very wrong, but trying to blame you.
That was you,
Was
right?
it me?
It was you.
No, it wasn't.
said it.
You didn't think
bet-
Stankoven was
You
going
bet
You bet me dinner on it.
Oh, okay.
Well, I want you guys to see this, because he met with the media today. Here's what I want your reaction to how he's handling this for really the first time of media attention after being scratched for lack of offensive performance.
Yeah, I think I just kind of tried to hit a reset button, and yeah, I think when you're in the lineup, you know, I think that's my chance to prove myself that I belong, and you know, I think obviously, yeah, it's tough to be scratched, but you got to respect the coach's decisions, and yeah, obviously the production isn't where I'd like it to be right now, but I'm just going to keep working and control the things that are within my control. So that's all I can do.
Your analytics, shots on goal, whatever, opportunities seem to be there. Do you look at that at all and say, I need to change this, or is it just a matter of you need to put the puck in the net?
I think the chances are there. Yeah, it's just about putting the puck in the net, and yeah, I think some of it's a bit of puck luck too, but there are chances where, like, yeah, I need to bear down and finish on some of those. So, yeah, I'm just really happy to be back in the lineup, and I want to do everything I can tonight to make sure I stay.
Luds, what's your first reaction to a rookie going through it with a lot to a lot of expectations, and facing the cameras like that?
My first reaction is, remember when Heike used to have did a thing, something called Hey Mike?
Yes. Hey,
Remember
Heike.
Hey, Heike, yep.
I think he wanted to say, hey Mike, like either sit down on the bench next to me or let me stand up, or just I'm done with these questions because I feel bad for him. I mean, looking up, and Hike is not even that big. We'll see that tomorrow. So, you know, he takes the high road. I mean, he takes responsibility for everything that he is doing or isn't doing, and I think you look at a motivated kid that is very serious in his answers and just wants to say, hey, I'm going to do whatever I have to do, you know, to make sure I don't come out of the lineup again.
More about Stankoven in a moment here on the DLS Dallas Stars pregame show.
Oh, yeah. We back, and we talking about Sleeper. Sleeper is the best fantasy platform out there, period. Put your ball or puck knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite player will have more or less in their projected stats each night or each week. I am just thankful, boys, that NHL hockey is back. Enough of this NBA picks, hootenanny, and all that. I don't know anything about what I was picking. I was hitting a bunch of them, but I didn't know anything about it, I'll be honest. But with Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts for breaking news, major injuries, so you can stay ahead of the game, keep track of league updates in real time, and you're always informed to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLSSTARS to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. Apply it to any contest, doesn't have to be your first. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational in over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. And now we're going to get to the picks for tonight. Tonight, it's pretty simple for me. I got Mr. Sidney Crosby scoring a point at the Flyers because obviously that's easy. Then I got Alex Ovechkin scoring tonight at the Flames because once again,
13 to go.
That one's easy. And then I have Mr. Turn Your Season Around, Jason Robertson, scoring tonight against the Jackets. Those are some big numbers, boys. And if you look at them, Sidney Crosby, I can't even believe he's playing, to be honest, after all he went through. But Ovechkin just doesn't seem to want to stop scoring. He scores every single night. So that is I think that says 1.54. You got Ovechkin scoring, which is a 1.51. And 9-1. You got to wear my glasses here, eh? Jason Robertson getting a goal tonight is a 2.32 times your money. Put it all together, I believe it's 5.9 times if it all hits. So that's the big times. Those are the picks for tonight.
You should do a follow-up in the postgame show. See how you do.
I always do well. I'd be able to read the screen, though.
I owe Luds some praise. We don't always praise you. In fact, we usually do the opposite because it's fun. No. This is truthful. So the other night, we're upstairs, and you're doing a thing about Stankoven being scratched, and you say, that's the first time, right? And I was very hesitant to say, I'm pretty sure, but I'm not very confident. It was. So we're going to play. Here's Logan Stankoven a little bit later in the scrum talking about how Luds is right, although he doesn't mention Craig.
There's been a few times, I think, last year in the AHL, I went 10 or 11 games without scoring as well, but nothing quite like this. I've never kind of really been scratched before. I think my first year of World Juniors, I didn't expect to make it, but I was the 13th, 14th forward, so that was my first time getting scratched. And so I think you just try and be a sponge, when you're not playing. I like to watch the games from above and kind of have that bird's eye view, see what's going on and what other guys are doing to have success. So it's about learning for me.
There you have it, Luds. You said it already. He took a very mature, high road way of it. I think he handled it extremely well. Now the question is, how will we play?
I think you're going to see the same thing. Yeah. The easiest thing to say, you're going to see a little bit more effort from him, but I don't know if he can give you any more effort. I just think he's going to be hungrier around the front of the net. And you may see him standing in the blue paint a lot.
Tell me if I'm wrong. Doesn't it feel like he's just a puck or two going in from just opening up?
But isn't that many players in the NHL, the difference between success and failure?
It just feels like it. And I don't know, it reminds me of a few players that never did it. The Gurionov type of situation where it's just like, man, he looks like he's going to score every night.
In the playoffs, he showed he could do it. And then
just disappeared.
And for a player, unlike Gurionov, Logan Stankoven is defensively responsible and understands how to play defense. And that's why he kept playing even throughout the slumps of offense, because he was still an effective player. And as Pete said, it's never an effort thing. Well, talk about the difference between a few pucks going in and not. Jason Robertson has been on fire lately. He had a hat trick in one period against the Islanders. And I saw NHL Network tweet out a fun graphic I wanted to share. to show the difference between before and after the USA rosters were picked for the 4 nations. So obviously part of this is he was not healthy and fully up to speed at the beginning of the season because of the offseason surgery. But I also think, guys, that there's a motivation of not being made, and he's showing them up a little bit or showing them why he should have been. Look at the difference. So he had 14 points if you add 9 and 5 together in 24 games before. He has 40 points in 33 games, and look at the difference in the points per game total from 0.58 to 1.21. This guy is playing the way you expect, and this is what the Stars need him to be.
Yeah, but I'm going to say that we saw prior to this him get his game was coming back.
Yes.
He was getting to areas that he wasn't getting to. He was going to areas that he didn't seem like he wanted to go to.
He almost looked disinterested earlier in the year.
That's a perfect word to use. He looked disinterested.
In contact and getting to the harder areas.
Yeah, well, and he didn't fight through things. I mean, there were so many 50-50 puck battles that we talked about on the wall that he wasn't winning. And that was all prior to the announcement being made or not made. So, whatever it was, and then you could see it. Then all of a sudden something clicked, and I think what it was is he got a goal and assist one game. Then he got a couple of assists, and so very similar to what we talk about Rupe. Like he seems to get engaged in the game when something good happens to him earlier, better than later in a hockey game, and he seems to go, and that gear comes into play, and he's around the net a little bit more. And that's not fair to say with Rupe, because on the power plays and things like that, he does go to the front of the net when he's out there. So I don't want to make it sound like, but you can see there's a second and third effort, and there's another gear that we know that Hintz has. But anyway, I think that those two guys right now are feeling it from each other. It's not just Robo, but it's Robo with Hintz and Hintz with Robo. Hintz knows that as he goes and opens up space for Robo coming in late, wherever it may be, the points are going to come for both of them.
Was it a physical or mental more so for Robertson to get over?
Both.
Early on.
It was the physical led to mental.
Yeah.
He realized how mentally challenging it was to not be able to produce because physically he wasn't there. And then as Luddy pointed out on a couple of occasions, he couldn't get his mental side to push through the physical limitations at the time, because you, Luds, were very critical, and rightly so, that it wasn't as bad physically as his brain was telling him.
I just think, I guess I would disagree in a way. Mentally, you have to tell yourself, I'm not scoring from out here. I've used Tyler as an example a couple of years ago. Tyler, when he wasn't scoring goals, especially that one time on the power play, he would start to drift back a little bit further out of that spot, the Ovechkin area. He would start to drift further away in order to get the shot
making it harder to get the goal
to
actually
think he
score.
Thought that he would have more time. And I was like, just go to the front of the net and something's going to hit you and it's going to go in, and then all of a sudden they start going in. I think mentally you have to tell yourself, just like, again, I don't want to use number 11 as an example because he goes there, but you have to go there more often. Even though you go there all the time, you have to go more often. You have to be hungrier when you get in there. I just think for Robo, I think he was feeling sorry for himself.
Yeah.
There was a point it looked like, that didn't go in. But, young players, and I know Robo's not a rookie, but you go through these things and you have to fight. Most of the time your battles is with yourself. The goal scorers, they have it. And man, but let's talk about the good stuff. I mean, he is on fire right now. Now he believes everything he does. And what I like about the belief in him is he is still scoring goals from that tough area of the ice. I mean, he's getting them everywhere. He goes there, but it's his hockey IQ. He doesn't put himself in there and let me as a defenseman tie you up. It's a timing thing for him. He comes in and he's not going to get there where somebody can grab me. He's going to have like a foot or 2 or 3 feet of space that he can either make a move or he can shoot the puck in the net.
Yeah. All right, I have a trivia question for you too.
Oh,
it has to do with this. No, this is an easy one.
I'm out.
In the last 10 Stars games,
Miller Lite.
they have 4 players averaging over a point a game. Can you name the 4 Dallas Stars?
I'm going to go with Duchesne.
He's number 1. He's averaging 1.4 points per game in his last 10.
Okay, what was the question again?
There's 4 Stars players right now, and in the last 10.
Apparently we're going to be one of the guys we just got
Robertson.
talking about.
That's why we're doing it. Robertson is number 3, averaging 1.2 points per game.
4
points a game?
Hintz is at 1.10.
One more.
I'd jump on Thomas Harley.
He's close, but no, he's at
Forward.
1.7.
Where's Wyatt?
Another forward.
Wyatt is 1.3.
Yeah, there you go.
The 5th. So you got this. I thought it was pretty easy. The
I thought it was a dumb
5th
question.
is Evgenii Dadonov at 9 points in his last 10 games, 0.9. That's scoring depth.
Yeah.
And I heard your favorite podcast suggest.
Depth? What do you mean by depth?
That means that there are four players of the big guys that are. It's not just one guy.
You're talking about the other guys, not the
I'm
guys
talking-
Gibson's name, because they're not depth guys.
No.
just
What
in
I'm saying
general.
is
See, I don't
depth.
listen to
Depth
the
of.
whole question.
Yeah, well, you should listen.
I just kind of jump in and disagree with
Your 32 Thoughts podcast guys are saying that the Dallas Stars should be in on Erik Karlsson
I heard
because
it.
Oh, my God.
where are the goals
Enough.
coming from? And I'm telling you,
Enough.
they've got plenty of scoring.
Yeah.
Do
Always,
it-
I think there's always been talk about Dallas needing more from the blue line.
Yes,
but Harley's starting to
And
do that for
Bloods,
them
did you
as
see
well.
what Sean got from Jim Nill today? Scoffing at this. Where are we going to get $11.5 million over the next 3 years
Why did
of
he
space?
have to go ask him? I told Sean that a month ago.
Because-
Forget it.
He just
Because
wanted to
got
get it right
from
from the
the
source.
GM.
You got it from the assistant to the assistant 2 months ago.
All right, let's look at we're short on time here. Let's look at the lineups tonight. Expected for first the Stars. And obviously Stankoven is in. Blackwell was really good, so they can't take him out of the lineup. I know that we don't have the usual Sam with our lineup combinations. I'm guessing on this. Blackwell did play center the other night. He could go in the middle. Steele could go on the left. Stankoven on the right. But either way, we want to see something from Stankoven. But this group has been really balanced.
Yeah, I've liked Maverick Bork's game lately too. We talked about it a little bit. I think after the Islanders game, you just mentioned Dadonov. I think Granlund looked really good and fit in well. I think they keep him with those two for the time being. I like that they're trying out multiple things, right? I think that Pete talked about how we might be looking at lines until playoff game number 1, and even beyond that. You do some shuffling in the playoffs too, and I think that that's the key of putting Wyatt up with the top guys, then putting them back down at third line center and mixing those guys, because you want to have, I think you said it, you want to have that big list of, if we don't have this guy goes. If this guy's not going, we move him here. And you want to have those options, so you're not thinking, the classic blender and just saying, let's just stick a bunch of stuff and hope it works. I think the Stars are giving themselves options.
One of the Blue Jackets beat writers actually has the Stars lines from the warm-ups, and they have Blackwell on the left with Steele in the middle
Oh,
of
it is?
Stanko,
Okay.
in case you were curious.
Interesting.
My instinct would be to, if you want to get him going, I'd put him up on that third line.
With Johnston and Ben.
Mm-hmm. And then I'd take Dadonov, put him on the left-hand side, and move Blackwell over to the right.
Is that
So Mike has
Only
too.
because
Oh,
Dadonov is
Heike
not
just
going
put
to
it
change
out.
his game,
Work
and
on the right.
Dadonov's fine anywhere.
Yeah.
And I just think if you want to get, I shouldn't say the only good news is about playing where he's playing with is when you play with Blackwell and Steele, they play direct.
Yep.
And so there's going to be more opportunities with the three of them guys down there banging around in front of the net.
Yeah.
But you're probably going to get more setup plays from Jamie and Bork if you were playing up there. And I'd have no problem with Dadonov because he can play anywhere and his game isn't going to change.
Let's
They
show
got
the
2
D.
or 3 centers on every line.
By
I
the
just was
way,
thinking
Heike
about
has
it.
Blackwell in the middle, so I guess we'll have to wait and watch.
Yeah.
Let's show the D for the Stars. Smith in for Bishel. No surprise that the top two pairs stay the same. Jake Oettinger gets the start.
Does this
Casey
does this
DeSmith
worry you?
actually was in the net.
What?
The last time the Stars played a home game was when they played the
What don't you
Blue
like?
Jackets for the first time.
The
As
third
they won 5-3
pairing.
on February 2nd. It has been almost a month since Dallas has played a home game.
Nobody's saying anything about Dumba. He hasn't scored in 56 games. How come we're not giving him a
Not
hard
why he's
time?
on the
Oh,
spot.
I
is
gave
it?
him plenty of hard times throughout the year, but I just need to point out this bottom pairing. I thought they were going to switch up a little bit and put Harley with Dumba or Lindell with Dumba or something
why?
like that.
They
Smith
trust-
and Dumba is just
Well, interesting. Heike has Harley with Ceci and Lindell with Labushkin.
yeah. So
we'll
the,
have to keep
the way
an eye on
the
that.
way Mike has it is everything was pretty much exactly the same except for Beck came out and Blackwell went to the
But
middle.
see,
That was it.
if you take Harley and split up Harley Labushkin or Harley Ceci, now you're asking Dumba to play bigger minutes, and that's
Yeah.
not what they're going to do.
You're right.
Right.
So
The trust is those top four right now.
Yeah.
All right,
Just
let's go to
worries me a
the
little.
Columbus Blue Jackets. First, their forwards. Marchenko is back. The 2-week break really helped, so he didn't miss as many games as they maybe thought they would. And Boone Jenner's a big deal, Sam.
Yeah, he's a
Getting
good
him
player.
back. Second game, he played his debut on Saturday against the Blackhawks, the one Letty you watched as they beat him, and snapped a 4-game winless streak. Jenner has not played all season because of preseason shoulder surgery. He's their captain, and it's a big deal, and it pushes Van Riemsdyk out of the top 6, which probably makes them more dangerous.
They're hurting, right? We saw it when they came here. They had was it Marchenko that went down with the facial injury?
Well,
when I was hanging
they've
with
got
Bloods in the,
Gabranson,
box.
Chinnikov, Monahan, and now LeBanc
Yeah.
on IR, although a couple of them are starting to skate. LeBanc is out season-ending surgery, but wasn't having a great year. Let's look at the defense. Luds, I know you wanted to talk about a couple of guys on their left-hand side.
Well, no, I just want to talk about. You don't have to go back, John. That Kent Johnson.
Oh, yeah.
91. He's got 19 and 19. But what a great player! I watched him the other night.
8 goals in his last 13 games.
I don't even know who he is, but he just kept popping on the screen. Then when you look at the defenseman, Werenski, obviously, he'll be in the top 3 when it comes to the Norris voting. Leads all defensemen in shots, 205 shots. I mean, all defensemen.
Yeah.
Even the guy in Pittsburgh.
Even Carlson.
Carlson, yeah. And Matejchuk. Don't know who the hell he is either. He's got a couple goals.
First rounder from 22.
Yeah,
He's 20
but
years old from Manitoba.
When he was in Cleveland in their minor league program, played 27 games. He's got 25
Barons,
points.
Eh?
But all I noticed was in the game
wrong.
the other night against
Monsters.
Chicago was number 91, number 8, and this number 5. And I'm talking about in the offensive zone. So Matejchuk has got a ton of confidence. I would keep an eye on that kid because he's following in the footsteps and the shoes of Werenski, and those two guys are in the play all night long, and especially Werenski.
Tell me Werenski didn't go from that's a really good defender to possibly elite at that 4 Nations.
You know what?
He's
He's very similar to Quinn Hughes because when you talk about defending, he defends with the puck.
Mm-hmm.
It's on his stick. He's gone. He carries into the offensive zone. He comes back to his own end. He gets the puck back on his stick, and he's back on. So they don't have to be big, strong guys in their own zone because they've got the puck most of the night. And he plays 26, 27 minutes a night.
And he's got that Quinn Hughes, Cale Makar wrist shot that just finds a way to get through.
Something to keep an eye on. We do have a super chat. Hold that, John, for just a second. The Blue Jackets are tied for 6th in the league at home. They have a 714 point percentage at home. They are 27th on the road with a 379 point percentage. So we always say 750 at home, 500 on the road gets you in the playoffs. They're in a playoff spot, right? Or they're tied for that final playoff spot. But they have got to find a way to get some more points away from home. Doesn't affect them tonight because they're playing at home. Yep, no, it's nationwide.
Right?
But we have a super chat. Pre-game super chat.
All right.
Burned Oils, a little Lundqvist and 33. Trying to remember.
Mark Mathot.
Yeah, there you
Patrick
go.
Waugh.
Yeah, I like that one. Robida, what was his number?
3.
It was 3, right?
It was 3.
So double Robida.
I handed in that jersey.
Oh, that's awesome. That's the beauty with our team now. We have so many different tools we can throw at the other teams will be very handy in the playoffs, Dumba included.
There you go.
I mean, if you can take Stankoven out, get a good performance, you can put him back in. Oscar Beck comes out. I think it's difficult for the coaches to take Beck out because of his size. It's a pretty small lineup tonight.
Last 19 games, he's got 3 points.
It's not about
he's
points.
A minus
he's not a point guy.
He's a minus player.
Yeah.
He's got
Stankoven.
He's got like 12 hits. Yeah, for a big body, he's got 12 hits. I like him. Don't get me wrong, but to
What
say
about
that
penalty kill?
Stankoven can come out, Stankoven can kill.
Yeah.
Wyatt can
But
kill.
he doesn't.
Hintz can kill. Jamie can kill. They can all kill on this team.
Yep.
I don't get it. I'm not saying Oscar needs to come out of the lineup. I'm just saying it shouldn't be a shock that he comes out.
No, it's not a
you
shock.
can take all these guys out, and he's a big body.
I
Did you notice him as a big body? Let's be honest.
In front of his own net, I do. I don't notice it physicality-wise.
In his own net in front of the other net.
Right in those areas. That's it. I don't not in a hitting
you
in the
don't see
corners
him along
or
the wall.
not as
The
much.
big body thing don't fly for me.
I just think that they wanted to get Stankoven back in more than they wanted to take Oscar back out.
I don't know.
But and Blackwell was so
Assistant
good
to
the
the
other night.
assistant.
He kept his spot because if Blackwell is average,
Yeah, you can't take it. Yeah,
He
and
comes
they're gonna take Beck. They're gonna take Steele. They're gonna take Blackwell. And I'm not gonna go here with Stankoven.
not yet.
But there's gonna be a rotation of those guys. But they're not. I don't think they're gonna let guys like that sit out 2-3 games in a row because they're important players to them, and they got to have them going.
You guys ready? We have another one, and it's a
bang.
first timer.
Let's go right straight through the first period, folks.
Super
I'm
chat.
good with it.
Just
We'll
watch
watch
the
it on a
game from
computer.
here.
First time super chat for
Oh,
Ronnie
heck
Hughes.
yeah, Ronnie.
And a
Gives
little
us a hatcher.
a
You related to
little
Quinn?
Smith.
Oh, Joseph Smith.
Is he really? A Smith and the year after the Stanley Cup year. Happy belated birthday to Johnny Gaudreau Jr.
Absolutely.
Just turned 1, right?
I saw who was
nights
it?
ago.
Who was it? One of his former teammates, dressed up as Donald Duck at the birthday party. I
Wasn't
forget.
it Boone?
Was it Boone?
thought it
I just
was.
forgot who it was, but I loved seeing that.
I thought it was Jenner, but I could have been wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. Great one, and thanks, Ronnie.
All right.
Welcome.
Thank you very much. Let's get to the game, post-game shows right afterwards, right here from our podcast studio. By the way, if you want to double dip tonight, Stars post-game, and then stick it with DLS, but switch over to the lounge because we've got Luka in LA against the Mavs for the first time, and our DLS Mavs crew will have a huge show for that. But make sure you do Stars post-game first.
I won't be double dipping.
Right here on DLS. Thanks for joining
I believe
us.
that
Always
they are
double
going to
dipping.
crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.